We've read our one verse of scripture. From 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7. And in the King James it says, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. And my topic this morning, as I told the church clerk on last Sunday, is check your baggage at the foot of the cross. I want to look briefly at some of the things that we need to surrender to Christ. And hopefully each of us can examine some of the baggage that we're carrying. Because truly all of us are carrying some kind of baggage. And maybe today, just maybe, we might leave some of our baggage behind. And so we want to find out what you're going to leave with today. And as I thought about this week, and some of the things that I reflected on was, when you go to a ballroom, if you're going to go to a formal dance or a prom or a cabaret, I don't think any of y'all been to cabarets. Y'all probably been saved longer than I am. Everybody's looking up at the ceiling like, what are you talking about? Yeah. They have what's called a coat check room. Anybody know what those are? It's where you could go and check your coat, and they would give you a claim check so that you could pick your coat up at the end of the dance. That way you didn't have to worry about it while you were getting your groove on. I remember one time, in fact, when my sister got married, there were a whole lot of police officers at the wedding, because when she got married the first time, she married another policeman. And so there were a lot of folks from the police department at the wedding because they were both police officers. And of course, what do all the police officers have with them? They have their equipment. And so after we had the reception at the church, went back to my mother's house, and in the dining room, everybody checked their equipment in the credenza so that they could go and have their dance down in the basement. I'd never seen such an arsenal in my life. And when everybody started leaving, everybody was coming upstairs and they were pulling out them service revolvers, and everybody knew whose was what. And I told my sister, I said, y'all were pulling them things out like they were coats in a coat room. That was something that you picked up later. If you go on a trip, you have the option of checking your bags at the train station. You get a claim check. Or if you take a bus trip, you can do the same. Or if you take a plane, you can do the same and not have to worry about your bags. And when you get to the end of the trip, you can pick your bags up at the revolving thing at that place I don't like to go to, the airport, or at the bus station, stand there when they unload it from the bus, or pick them up inside the train station at the revolving claim check. In some places in the city, when you go to hotels or go to hospitals, they also have valets to park your cars, or if you park it yourself, you go and you push this little button and it gives you a ticket when you park your car, so that when you come back, you can claim your car. In each of those cases, you drop something off, but you pick it back up later. Now, the problem with that is that's different from when we take our things to Christ. Because when we take our things to Christ, we are not supposed to go and take a claim check and pick those things up later. We get a claim check, all right. But the claim check that we pick up is what Jesus says, if you come after me, each of us must take up our cross daily. That's our claim check. And follow him. So we give him our stuff. We cast our cares upon him. We take the claim check of our cross and follow him. And I'll get to what we pick up in a few minutes. But I want to ask you a question. When you cast your cares on him, what's in your bag? Now, let me pause a minute, because ever since September 11th, 2001, things have changed. When you travel, now you have to show some ID. You have to show who you are. When you ride on an airplane, not only do you have to have your ID, but something happens now, whether you know it or not, makes you feel very vulnerable when you get to where you're going. I found that out twice when I went to San Francisco. I checked my bag at the airport, and when I got to the other end and opened up my bag at the hotel, there was this little note inside my bag. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It says that your bag has been checked by security. They had gone through my things. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Now, ladies, I thought about you all. Now, I know what I pack in my bag, all right? But I'm thinking, what if some man is checking some lady's bag? What things would you have in your bag that you don't want some man seeing? Now, I'm thinking, I know how vulnerable I felt knowing that somebody had gone through my bag. I don't know who it was. I know I had my unmentionables in there. Thank God they were clean. But it's the idea that somebody was seeing my personal things in my bag. You follow where I'm coming from? Okay, but now here's where I'm going with this. You see, when we take our things before Christ, we lay our cares upon Christ. He knows all about us. God knows our personal stuff. He knows all of our issues. What's in your bag? Is there some deep trauma from your past?
Come on, Pastor.
Is there some deep trauma that's so deep buried in the bag of your heart that you don't even want to face? Something that you buried so deep that it causes you such pain that you can't even face it. Is that in your bag? That's something that Jesus wants you to give over to him. Is there some addiction or some bondage in your bag? Is there some sickness in your bag? Is there some denial of things in your bag? What do I mean by that? I really don't have a problem. That kind of denial. I really am not in bondage to this. Is that in your bag? I really don't have an issue. Is that in your bag? I really don't need salvation. Is that in your bag? Is there some sickness in your bag? Is there some resentment in your bag? Is there some hatred in your bag? Is there some anger in your bag? Is there some grief in your bag? Is there some worry in your bag? Whatever is in your bag, Jesus wants you to give everything in that bag over to him. And Peter says you need to cast all your cares over to him because he cares for you. You ever gone to the doctor and the doctor's told you, I know something's wrong. Can you tell me what really hurts? And you say, I don't want to talk about it. And the doctor says, I can't help you if you don't tell me. And even though Jesus might know it, unless you confess it with your mouth, he can't do anything about it. He needs you to verbalize and say, Lord, this is where I hurt. And if you're not really sure, Lord, I just know it's something right here. I can't put it into words, but it's right here, God. It's right in the middle of my heart. I can't put my finger on it, but it's there. It's some frustration. I can't put my finger on it. It's right there, God. I don't know how to describe it, but it's there. He needs to know where it is, because if he knows where it is, he knows how to deal with it. He wants you to surrender it all to him. The problem is, a lot of times we give it over, but then we want to do just like we do when we check our cars in the parking lot, our coats in the coat room, or all those other things we check with the valet. We take the claim check and we want to go and pick up again what we laid down. But remember, the claim check that we got from Christ is a cross. Now here's the key. When we go back, one day, we're going to see him face to face. And we're going to go with the cross, his cross that we've been carrying, following him, going through suffering for his glory. And when we meet him face to face and exchange the cross that we've been carrying The hymnologist says we will exchange that cross for a crown. I don't know how that makes you feel, but I'm not picking up that old bag again with that old stuff, because it says all of that stuff will be passed away. Paul put it another way in Philippians. He says, forgetting the things which are behind and reaching forth to the things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. I press forward with my new claim check in my pocket, because those old things are put under the blood. I don't have time to look back at them. Why? Because I'm pressing forward. I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. One day, I want to see him face to face, because I want to pull out my claim check. And you know, when I take my dad to his doctor's appointments at the hospital, one of the things before we leave the doctor's office, in order to get a reduction in the price, the nurse takes the claim check and she reaches down and she stamps it. That reduces the price. That way you don't have to pay but for 1 hour, no matter how long you're in that appointment. Everything else has been covered. You see, one day we're going to exchange that claim check of the cross. And when we get there, we'll find out that our claim check has been stamped by the blood that Jesus shed on Calvary. And we'll find that we won't pay for not 1 hour. We won't pay for 30 minutes. We won't pay at all, because Jesus paid it all. All to him I owe. Sin has left a crimson stain, but he washed and made me whiter than snow. Check your bags in the claim check. Just take your stuff. Go to Calvary's cross. Drop it. Drop it in the pool of blood that the hymnologist said there is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's veins. And sinners plunge beneath the flood and lose all their guilty saints. Oh yeah. Sometimes Satan's going to try to find it. He's going to try to remind you. I know it was there somewhere. You know, you remember such and such and so and so. And just tell him, look, devil, I ain't got time for you. I ain't got time for you, devil. You think you can find it? Go right ahead, but I don't have time for you. And when you get to heaven, Jesus will let you know, it's not here. What I see is your name is written in the Lamb's book of life. And all Satan can do is accuse, but he can't find it. Why? It's under the blood. Just put your baggage there and leave it. Another hymnologist said, take your burdens to the Lord and leave them there. Is there one this morning? Is there one? Just dump your baggage at the foot of the cross. Don't pick it up. Pick up your cross and follow him daily. Is there one? Won't you stand?